Have you ever felt a strange pull in your heart, like something big is about to happen? Maybe you've been having weird dreams or seeing signs that make you wonder if there's more to life than what meets the eye. Well, let me tell you something amazing. God might be calling you for a special purpose. Yes, you. He's picking out certain people, his chosen ones, to go on an incredible journey. And the most exciting part? It's happening soon. Really soon. God's got a message for you. And it's so important that he's practically shouting it from the heavens. He's saying, "Get ready. You're about to meet me face to face." Can you imagine that? Meeting the creator of the universe, the one who knows every hair on your head and every thought in your mind? It's mind-blowing, right? But here's the thing. This isn't just any old meeting. This is the big one. The one that's going to change everything. And it's not just for a select few super holy people. Nope. God's casting a wide net, and you might be surprised to find yourself caught in it. So listen up, because this message could be meant just for you. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, why would God want to meet me? I'm nobody special. But that's where you're wrong. In God's eyes, you're one of a kind, a masterpiece he created with his own hands. And right now, he's got something big planned for you. This isn't just a casual, "Hey, how's it going?" kind of message. No, this is urgent. It's like God sending out a spiritual 911 call, and you're the one he's trying to reach. He's been trying to get your attention for a while now, but maybe you've been too busy or distracted to notice. Well, it's time to tune in, because what he's got to say is going to rock your world. Imagine getting a text from the president saying he needs to meet with you right away. That would be pretty exciting, right? Well, this is even bigger. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Alpha and Omega, he's the one calling you. And when God calls, you better believe it's for something important. So what's this big message all about? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? God's ways are mysterious, and he doesn't always spell things out in black and white. But one thing's for sure. He's planning something amazing, and he wants you to be part of it. Maybe he's got a special mission for you. Maybe he wants to reveal some deep truth that will change your life forever. Or maybe, just maybe, he simply wants to wrap you in his love and show you how precious you are to him. Whatever the reason, this message isn't something you want to ignore. It's not like those spam calls you get about your car's extended warranty. This is the real deal, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to connect with the divine in a way you never thought possible. And here's the kicker. God says you're leaving soon to meet him. Now, don't panic. This doesn't necessarily mean what you might think it means. We're not talking about the end of the world here, at least, not in the way you might be picturing it. No, this is about a spiritual journey, a chance to elevate your soul and experience God in a whole new way. So, are you ready? Are you willing to answer this call? Because let me tell you, when God comes knocking, it's not something you want to sleep through. This could be the moment that changes everything, the turning point in your life that you'll look back on and say, that's when it all began. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I'm really one of these chosen ones? Well, God doesn't usually send out engraved invitations, although, wouldn't that be something? Instead, he speaks to us in more subtle ways. But if you're paying attention, you might start to notice some signs that you're on his VIP list. First off, have you been feeling a deep longing lately? Not just for a new car or a better job, but for something more? It's like there's an ache in your soul, a hunger that nothing in this world seems to satisfy. You might find yourself staring out the window, daydreaming about a place you've never been, or a peace you've never known. This isn't just regular old boredom or dissatisfaction. No, this is your spirit recognizing that it's meant for something greater. This longing might show up in different ways. Maybe you're suddenly interested in spiritual books or videos that you never cared about before. Or perhaps you find yourself drawn to nature, feeling a connection to the trees and sky that you can't quite explain. You might even start asking big questions about life, the universe, and everything. Questions that never seemed important before. This feeling of longing is like a spiritual homing beacon. It's God's way of tugging on your heart, letting you know that he's got something special in store for you. So if you've been feeling this way, sit up and take notice. It could be the first sign that you're being called for an amazing journey. Next up, let's talk about coincidences. Now, we all have those moments where we think, wow, what are the chances? But when you're being called by God, these coincidences start to pile up in a way that's hard to ignore. Maybe you keep seeing the same number everywhere you look on clocks, license plates, receipts, or perhaps you randomly think of an old friend and then bump into them at the grocery store 5 minutes later. You might even find that every song on the radio seems to be speaking directly to your situation. These aren't just random happenstances. In the spiritual world, we call these God winks, little nods from the universe letting you know that you're on the right track. It's like God is playing a cosmic game of hide and seek with you, leaving little clues to let you know he's there. So if your life has been feeling like one big string of coincidences lately, pay attention. It could be God's way of waving his arms and saying, "Hey, over here, I've got something important to tell you." Last but not least, let's talk about urgency. Have you been feeling like time is running out? Not in a scary, doomsday kind of way, but more like there's something important you need to do, and you need to do it soon? This might show up as a sudden desire to get your life in order. Maybe you're feeling compelled to mend broken relationships, or to finally tackle that bad habit you've been meaning to break. You might find yourself wanting to simplify your life, getting rid of stuff that doesn't really matter so you can focus on what does. Or perhaps you're feeling a strong push to help others. You might suddenly want to volunteer, donate to charity, or just be kinder to the people around you. It's like you're aware that your time here is limited, and you want to make the most of it. This sense of urgency is God's way of preparing you for what's coming. He's helping you clear the decks, so to speak, so you're ready for the big meeting. It's like when you know an important guest is coming to your house. You want to tidy up and make everything nice, right? Well, that's what this feeling is all about. Now, here's the important thing to remember. Feeling this urgency doesn't mean you need to panic or do anything drastic. God's not calling you to sell all your possessions and go live on a mountaintop, unless he specifically tells you to, of course. This is more about getting your heart and mind in the right place, about being ready and open for whatever God has planned. So if you've been feeling this push to get things in order, to make things right, to be your best self, that's a pretty good sign that God's got his eye on you. He's preparing you for something big, something amazing. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Now, it's important to remember that these signs might look different for everyone. God knows each of us personally, and he speaks to us in ways we can understand. So while your neighbor might be seeing burning bushes, you might just feel a quiet whisper in your heart. That's okay. The important thing is to stay open and attentive to how God might be trying to reach you. And here's another thing. Even if you're not seeing these signs, that doesn't mean God's not calling you. Sometimes, he chooses the most unlikely people for his biggest missions. So don't count yourself out. Keep your heart open, your eyes peeled, and your ears tuned in. Because when God calls, you definitely don't want to miss it. The thing about being chosen by God is that it's not about being perfect. It's not about being the smartest, or the richest, or the most religious person around. God often chooses the most unexpected people to do his work. So if you're thinking, there's no way God would pick me, well, you might be in for a surprise. Being chosen isn't about what you've done in the past, or even about what you can do. It's about what God can do through you. It's about being willing to say yes to his call, even if you're not sure where it might lead. It's about being open to the amazing adventure he's inviting you on. So, if you've been feeling that deep longing, noticing those strange coincidences, or sensing that urgency to get your life in order, take heart. These might just be signs that God is calling you for something special. He's inviting you to a meeting, a face-to-face encounter that could change everything. Now, you might be feeling a mix of excitement and fear right now. That's totally normal. Meeting God is a big deal, after all. But remember, he's not calling you because he wants to scold you or make you feel bad. He's calling you because he loves you, because he has amazing plans for you, and because he wants to show you just how special you are to him. So, are you ready? Are you willing to answer the call? Because let me tell you, when God says it's time to meet him, it's going to be the adventure of a lifetime. And the best part? You've been specially chosen for it. How amazing is that? The meaning of leaving soon. Now, you might be wondering what exactly it means when God says you're leaving soon to meet Him. Don't worry, this isn't some kind of doomsday prediction. We're not talking about the end of the world or anything scary like that. Instead, think of it as the beginning of something amazing, a spiritual adventure that's about to unfold in your life. When God talks about leaving, He's often referring to a change in your spiritual state. It's like you're leaving behind your old way of thinking and living and stepping into a whole new level of understanding and connection with Him. Imagine you've been living in a small, dark room your whole life, and suddenly someone opens the door and invites you out into a beautiful, sunlit world. That's kind of what this leaving is all about. This leaving might happen in different ways for different people. For some, it might be a sudden, dramatic experience, like a bolt of lightning that changes everything in an instant. You might have a vision, hear God's voice clearly, or feel His presence in a way you never have before. It's like waking up from a long sleep and seeing the world with new eyes. For others, this leaving might be more gradual. You might find yourself slowly changing, bit by bit. Maybe you start to see things differently, or you feel a new sense of peace and purpose in your life. It's like watching a flower bloom. It doesn't happen all at once, but day by day, you open up more and more to God's presence. Now, when God says this is happening soon, remember that His timing isn't always the same as ours. In God's eyes, 1,000 years can be like a day, and a day like 1,000 years. So soon might mean tomorrow, or it might mean a few months or even years from now. The important thing is to be ready, to keep your heart open and your spirit tuned into His voice. And here's the really exciting part. This leaving isn't about going somewhere else physically. You're not being whisked away to some far-off place. Instead, it's about your spirit connecting with God in a deeper way, right here and now. It's about seeing the world through His eyes, feeling His love in a way you never have before, and understanding your place in His grand plan. So when you hear that you're leaving soon to meet God, get excited. This is good news. It's an invitation to step into a bigger, more beautiful reality. It's a chance to know God in a way you never thought possible and to discover the amazing purpose He has for your life. All right, so you've been chosen for this amazing meeting with God. But how do you get ready for something like that? Don't worry, you don't need any special equipment or fancy clothes. The kind of preparation God's looking for is all about your heart and spirit. First things first, let's talk about prayer. Now, I know sometimes prayer can feel like you're just talking to yourself, but when you're preparing to meet God, prayer becomes something different. It's like you're tuning your spirit, like a radio trying to pick up a signal. Start by finding a quiet place where you can be alone. Then, just start talking to God like He's right there with you, because He is. Tell Him your fears, your hopes, your questions. And then, here's the important part. Listen. Really listen. God might speak to you in words, or in feelings, or in sudden ideas that pop into your head. The more you practice this kind of prayer, the easier it becomes to hear His voice. Next up, let's talk about cleaning house. And I don't mean your actual house, although that couldn't hurt. I'm talking about your heart and mind. Is there anything you've been holding on to that you know isn't good for you? Maybe it's anger at someone who hurt you, or a bad habit you can't seem to shake. Now's the time to start letting those things go. Ask God to help you forgive, to help you break free from things that are holding you back. It's like you're clearing out space in your heart for God to fill with His love and peace. Reading God's Word is another great way to prepare. The Bible isn't just some old book. It's full of stories about people just like you who met God and were changed forever. As you read, pay attention to how God speaks to different people. Sometimes He uses burning bushes, sometimes He uses whispers, sometimes He uses other people. This can help you recognize how He might be speaking to you. Now, here's something really important. Don't forget to take care of yourself. God made your body as well as your spirit, and He wants you to be healthy and well. Make sure you're getting enough rest, eating good food, and taking time to do things that bring you joy. When you take care of your body, it helps your mind and spirit be more open to God's presence. Serving others is another powerful way to prepare for meeting God. When you help someone in need, when you show kindness to a stranger, you're actually serving God Himself. Jesus said that whatever we do for the least of people, we're doing for Him. So look for ways to be a blessing to others. It could be as simple as smiling at someone who looks sad, or as big as volunteering at a local charity. Every act of love opens your heart a little wider to God's love. Lastly, and this might sound a bit strange, but try practicing being quiet. We live in such a noisy world, always surrounded by sounds and distractions, but God often speaks in the silence. Try spending a few minutes each day just being still. No phone, no TV, no music, just you and the quiet. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. Your mind might race with all sorts of thoughts. That's okay. Just keep practicing. Over time, you'll find that in the quiet, you can feel God's presence more clearly. Remember, preparing to meet God isn't about being perfect. It's about being open, being willing, and being ready to be changed. God knows your heart. He knows your struggles and your fears. He's not expecting you to have it all together. He just wants you to come as you are, with a heart that's ready to receive His love. So as you prepare for this incredible meeting, be gentle with yourself. Take it one day at a time. And remember, the very fact that you're preparing shows that your heart is in the right place. God sees your efforts, and He's so excited to meet with you. Can you imagine that? The Creator of the universe is looking forward to spending time with you. How amazing is that? Now, let's talk about the big moment, the meeting itself. What can you expect when you come face to face with God? Well, the truth is, everyone's experience is unique. God knows exactly what you need and how to speak to your heart in a way you'll understand. But there are some common themes that many people experience when they have a deep encounter with God. First, many people describe feeling an overwhelming sense of love. This isn't just any kind of love. It's a love so pure, so complete, that it can bring you to your knees. Imagine feeling totally known, every part of you, even the parts you try to hide, and being completely accepted and loved. It's like all the love you've ever felt in your life, multiplied by infinity. This love might make you laugh or cry, or both at the same time. It might feel like a warm blanket wrapping around you, or like standing in the middle of a sun that doesn't burn. However it feels, know that this love is healing, transforming, and totally unconditional. Along with this love, many people experience a profound sense of peace. It's a peace that goes beyond just feeling calm. It's like every worry, every fear, every anxiety just melts away in God's presence. You might feel a stillness inside that you've never known before. Some people describe it as feeling held or carried, like all the weight you've been carrying is suddenly lifted off your shoulders. This peace isn't just a momentary feeling. It can stay with you, changing how you see the world and how you handle life's challenges. Now, here's something that might surprise you. Many people find that when they meet God, they also meet themselves, their true selves. It's like God holds up a mirror, and for the first time, you see yourself as He sees you. You might suddenly understand your worth, your potential, your place in the world in a whole new way. This can be both amazing and humbling. You might see the ways you've been holding yourself back, the lies you've believed about yourself. But you'll also see the incredible beauty and strength that God has placed within you. This self-realization can be a profound and life-changing part of meeting God. Some people experience physical sensations during their encounter with God. You might feel a warmth spreading through your body or a tingling sensation. Some people describe feeling like they're floating or like they're being filled with light. Others might feel a gentle touch, like a hand on their shoulder or a kiss on their forehead. Remember, God created your physical body as well as your spirit, so He might choose to reach out to you in physical ways. Many people also receive some kind of message or insight during their meeting with God. This might come as words that you hear clearly in your mind, or as a deep knowing that suddenly blooms in your heart. God might show you something about your past, helping you understand and heal from old wounds. Or He might give you a glimpse of your future, showing you the plans He has for you. Some people receive a specific mission or calling during these encounters. Whatever the message, it's usually something that resonates deeply with your soul, something that rings true in a way you can't deny. One thing that's common in many people's experiences is a sense of awe and wonder. Meeting God often reminds people of just how big, how powerful, how beyond our understanding He really is. You might feel small in comparison, but not in a bad way. It's more like feeling small when you stand at the edge of the ocean or look up at the stars, a reminder that you're part of something so much bigger than yourself. This sense of awe can fill you with wonder and gratitude, opening your eyes to the beauty and miracle of life in a new way. Now, it's important to remember that your meeting with God might not look like anyone else's. God might speak to you through a sudden insight while you're doing the dishes, or through a dream, or through the words of a friend. The meeting might last for a moment, or it might unfold over days or weeks. It might be dramatic, or it might be quiet and subtle. There's no one right way to experience God. And here's something else to keep in mind. This meeting isn't a one-time thing. Yes, you might have one big, life-changing encounter, but God wants to keep meeting with you, keep talking with you, every day. This big meeting is really just the beginning of a deeper, closer relationship with Him. So as you prepare for this meeting, keep your heart open. Don't put expectations on how it should look or feel. Trust that God knows exactly how to reach you, how to speak to you in a way you'll understand. And remember, no matter what happens, no matter what you feel or don't feel, God's love for you remains constant. He's so excited to meet with you, to know you more deeply, and to show you just how loved and valuable you really are. Meeting God isn't just a nice experience that you'll remember fondly. No, this encounter has the power to completely transform your life from the inside out. It's like a pebble dropped in a pond. The ripples spread out, touching every part of your existence in ways you might not even expect. First and foremost, you'll likely find that your perspective on life changes dramatically. Things that used to seem so important, like having the latest gadget or impressing people with your success, might suddenly seem less significant. Instead, you might find yourself focusing more on relationships, on helping others, on the things that truly matter in the grand scheme of things. It's like you've been given a pair of God's glasses, and now you're seeing the world through His eyes. Your sense of purpose is another area that's likely to undergo a major shift. Many people go through life feeling lost, unsure of why they're here or what they're meant to do. But after meeting God, you might find that you have a new, clear sense of direction. You might discover talents and passions you never knew you had, or find the courage to pursue dreams you'd given up on long ago. This new purpose isn't about becoming famous or making lots of money. It's about finding your unique way to make the world a little bit better, to spread a little more of God's love. Relationships are often profoundly impacted by a deep encounter with God. As you experience God's unconditional love, you might find it easier to love others, even the difficult people in your life. You might become more patient, more understanding, more willing to forgive. This doesn't mean you'll suddenly become perfect, nobody is, but you might find that you have a new capacity for compassion and empathy. Your relationships might become deeper, more meaningful, as you learn to see others the way God sees them. Another area where you might see big changes is in your inner life, your thoughts and emotions. Many people find that after meeting God, they have a new sense of peace and joy that seems to come from deep within. This doesn't mean you'll never feel sad or angry again, but you might find that you're better able to handle life's ups and downs. It's like you have an anchor holding you steady, even when the storms of life are raging around you. Your habits and behaviors might also start to change, often without you even trying. Things that used to tempt you might lose their appeal. Bad habits that you've struggled with for years might start to fall away. You might find yourself naturally drawn to make healthier choices, not out of guilt or obligation, but because you want to honor the body and life God has given you. One of the most beautiful changes many people experience is a new sense of freedom. Meeting God often helps people let go of the heavy burdens they've been carrying: guilt, shame, fear, resentment. It's like chains falling off, allowing you to stand up straight and tall for the first time. This freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about being free to become the person God created you to be, free from the expectations and limitations that have held you back. Your approach to challenges and difficulties might also transform. When you've met the creator of the universe and felt his love for you, somehow the problems of life don't seem quite so overwhelming. You might find a new strength and resilience within yourself, a confidence that comes from knowing that God is with you, no matter what you face. Many people also experience a renewal of wonder and gratitude in their lives. It's like meeting God opens your eyes to the everyday miracles all around you. The beauty of a sunset, the kindness of a stranger, the intricate design of a flower. You might find yourself saying thank you more often, not just to people, but to God for the gift of life itself. It's important to note that these changes don't usually happen overnight. Transformation is often a process, a journey of growing and learning. There might be setbacks along the way, times when you struggle or doubt, but the memory of your encounter with God can serve as a touchstone, something to return to when things get tough. Also, remember that everyone's journey is unique. Your life might not change in exactly the same ways as someone else's. God knows exactly what you need, and He'll work in your life in the way that's best for you. The key is to stay open, to keep seeking Him, to allow Him to continue working in your life day by day. Meeting God isn't the end of your spiritual journey. It's really just the beginning. It's the start of a new life, a new way of being in the world. And the beautiful thing is, God isn't finished with you. He'll keep working in your life, keep transforming you, keep drawing you closer to Him. Every day can be a new adventure with God, a chance to see more of His love and to become more of who He created you to be. Now, let's be real for a moment. As exciting as all this sounds, it's totally normal to have some doubts and fears about meeting God. In fact, if you're not feeling at least a little nervous, I'd be surprised. This is a big deal, after all. So let's talk about some common worries people have and how to deal with them. First up, many people worry that they're not good enough to meet God. Maybe you're thinking about all the mistakes you've made, all the times you've messed up. You might be afraid that God will reject you or be angry with you. But here's the amazing truth. God already knows everything about you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and He loves you anyway. He's not waiting to scold you or punish you. He's waiting with open arms, like a loving parent excited to see their child. Remember, you're not meeting God because you're perfect. You're meeting Him because He loves you and wants to know you better. Another common fear is that meeting God will be scary or overwhelming. You might be picturing some kind of terrifying, otherworldly experience. But while meeting God is certainly awe-inspiring, it's not meant to terrify you. Most people describe feeling safe, loved, and at peace in God's presence. It's more like coming home than like facing something frightening. Some people worry that if they meet God, He'll ask them to do something they don't want to do, like become a missionary in a far-off country or give away all their possessions. While it's true that meeting God often leads to changes in our lives, God's not in the business of making you miserable. He gave you your personality, your talents, your dreams. If He asks you to do something, it'll be something that ultimately brings you joy and fulfillment, even if it's challenging at first. There's also the fear that nothing will happen. You might be worried that you'll pray and prepare, and then nothing. What if you don't feel anything? What if you don't hear God's voice? First, remember that God often speaks in subtle ways. It might not be a booming voice from heaven, but a quiet sense of peace or a new understanding that dawns on you slowly. Second, even if you don't feel anything right away, that doesn't mean God isn't there or that He's rejecting you. Sometimes the seeds God plants in our hearts take time to grow. Some people fear that meeting God will make them lose touch with reality or become some kind of religious fanatic. But true encounters with God don't make you less you. They make you more yourself. You might find new purpose and passion, but you'll still be you, just the best version of yourself. Then there's the fear of change. Meeting God will change you. That's kind of the point. But change, even good change, can be scary. You might worry about how it will affect your relationships or your life plans. Remember, though, that God's plans for you are good. The changes He brings are designed to help you flourish and to bring more love and light into the world. So how do you deal with these fears and doubts? First, acknowledge them. It's okay to be scared or unsure. Talk to God about your fears. He already knows what's in your heart, and He appreciates your honesty. Next, remind yourself of God's character. He's not trying to trick you or set you up to fail. He's loving, kind, and wants the best for you. When fears crop up, counter them with the truth about who God is. It can also help to talk to others who have had their own encounters with God. Hearing their stories can encourage you and give you an idea of what to expect. Just remember that your experience will be unique to you. Finally, remember that doubt isn't the opposite of faith. Even people in the Bible who had dramatic encounters with God still had moments of doubt. Doubt can actually be a tool that deepens your faith as you work through it. Meeting God is a journey, and it's okay if that journey includes some fears and doubts along the way. God is patient, and He understands. He's not in a rush, and He won't give up on you. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and trust that the God who loves you more than you can imagine is going to meet you right where you are. As you prepare for this incredible journey of meeting God, you might be wondering how to talk about it with your family and friends. This can be a tricky subject, especially if your loved ones don't share your beliefs or understand what you're experiencing. But don't worry, with a little thoughtfulness and love, you can navigate these conversations and maybe even strengthen your relationships in the process. First, it's important to remember that you don't have to explain everything to everyone. It's okay to keep some parts of your spiritual journey private. You get to decide how much you want to share and with whom. Trust your instincts about who will be supportive and understanding. When you do decide to talk about your experience, start with honesty and simplicity. You might say something like, "I've been feeling a strong spiritual pull lately, and I believe God is calling me to a deeper relationship with Him. I'm excited about it, but I know it might sound strange." By acknowledging that it might be hard for them to understand, you're showing empathy and opening the door for a real conversation. It's also helpful to focus on how this experience is affecting you personally, rather than trying to convince others that they should believe the same thing. You might talk about how you're feeling more peace, or how you're finding new purpose in your life. This makes it less about abstract beliefs and more about your personal journey. Be prepared for different reactions. Some people might be excited for you and want to know more. Others might be confused or even concerned. Try to respond with patience and love, no matter how they react. Remember, just as God is patient with you, you can be patient with others as they try to understand. If someone reacts negatively, try not to get defensive. Instead, you might say something like, "I understand this might be hard to grasp. I'm still figuring it out myself, but I hope you can be happy that I'm finding more peace and purpose in my life." This keeps the focus on the positive changes you're experiencing. For those who are closest to you, like a spouse or best friend, you might want to go into more detail. You could share some of the signs you've been seeing or the ways you've been preparing to meet God. Invite them to ask questions and express their thoughts. Even if they don't fully understand, they might appreciate being included in your journey. If your loved ones have different beliefs, assure them that your love and respect for them hasn't changed. You might say, "My beliefs are changing, but my love for you is constant. I hope we can continue to have open, respectful conversations about this." This shows that you value your relationship with them, even as you're going through this spiritual transformation. For family members who might be worried about you, it can help to reassure them about the practical aspects of your life. Let them know that you're still committed to your responsibilities, that you're not making any rash decisions, and that you're approaching this journey thoughtfully and carefully. If you have children, you'll want to explain things in a way they can understand. You might say something like, "Mommy/Daddy is learning more about God and feeling lots of love. It's like making a new friend who's always there for you." Keep it simple and positive, and be open to their questions. Remember, actions often speak louder than words. As you continue on this journey, your loved ones will likely notice changes in you. More patience, more love, more joy. These changes can be a powerful testimony, even if you never say a word about your spiritual experiences. Lastly, don't forget to express your love and appreciation for your family and friends. Let them know how much they mean to you and how grateful you are for their presence in your life. This journey you're on isn't just about your relationship with God. It's also about deepening and strengthening all your relationships. Meeting God is a deeply personal experience, but it doesn't have to isolate you from the people you love. With open communication, patience, and lots of love, you can share this journey with your loved ones in a way that brings you closer together. As we come to the end of this incredible journey, take a moment to reflect on everything we've talked about. You've been chosen by God for a special purpose. He's calling you to meet Him, to know Him in a deeper way than ever before. This isn't just a casual invitation. It's a life-changing opportunity that could transform every aspect of your existence. Remember, this call isn't because you're perfect or because you've done everything right. It's because God loves you, just as you are. He sees the amazing potential in you, the beautiful plans He has for your life. This meeting is His way of drawing you closer, of helping you become the person He created you to be. As you prepare for this divine encounter, don't be discouraged by doubts or fears. They're a normal part of the journey. Instead, let them push you closer to God. Talk to Him about your worries, your excitement, your questions. He's listening, and He understands. Keep in mind that meeting God isn't a one-time event. It's the beginning of a deeper, richer relationship with Him. Every day can be an opportunity to experience His presence, to hear His voice, to feel His love. This journey you're embarking on, it's lifelong, and it just keeps getting better. And as you walk this path, remember that you're not alone. God is with you every step of the way, and He often provides fellow travelers to encourage and support you. Don't be afraid to share your experiences with others. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. So, chosen one, are you ready? Are you willing to say yes to this divine invitation? God is waiting, arms open wide, to meet with you. He's excited to show you who He is and who you are in Him. He's ready to fill your life with more love, more purpose, and more joy than you ever thought possible. This is your moment, your time, your divine appointment. Don't let it pass you by. Step forward with courage, with an open heart, and with the expectation that the God of the universe is about to rock your world in the most beautiful way. Remember, you are loved beyond measure. You are valued beyond price. You are chosen for a purpose, and God can't wait to meet with you. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and get ready. The greatest adventure of your life is about to begin. God is calling, and He's calling you by name. Will you answer? The impact on your life,